Hello again, I am Eric at Spectre Overland. In this adventure, we start out on what seemed like an easy trail. We visit the historic Mount Trumbull schoolhouse, which is a real one-room schoolhouse. We drive right on the cliff's edge, and I am seriously wondering if the trail was wide enough. We head up a mountain with the trail getting narrower and narrower, leaning 18 degrees toward the downward slope. Ugh. Then I had to back down that same narrow mountain through the same lean backwards. But in the end, we made it through and finally arrive at the Whitmore, Colorado Overlook at the Grand Canyon in Arizona to camp. It was all worth it. I have all the details ahead, so stay tuned. The road highlighted in yellow on the map is an easy rated trail that covers the first half of the trail to the Whitmore Canyon Overlook on the north rim of the Grand Canyon. In this first section, we travel 50 miles on smooth dirt road to Mount Trumbull, Arizona. However, after Mount Trumbull is where the problems start. But beware, you are on your own when you head down this road. There is no cell phone service, no gas, and no ranger support. I think the bottom of the sign sums it up. If you are not prepared to take care of any issues you may have, then it could cost a heck of a lot for someone to come and help you all the way out here. The trail starts immediately south of St. George, Utah, right next to the Arizona border. The scenery gets more varied and more beautiful as we head south. I am lucky to have my friend Rich with me today on his second Utah Overland adventure. He is also from Virginia and rode with me while I drove across the country. Up ahead is the Mount Trumbull Schoolhouse. The old schoolhouse holds fond memories for those who received some or all of their education there. It functioned as a school, church, dance hall, and a town meeting place. People came from miles around to attend dances and listen to music played by local musicians, which were their main sources of entertainment. The first schooling in the area took place in the home of one of the local residents. In order to accommodate a growing student body, a modest schoolhouse was built. Soon it became too small and was moved to make room for the existing building, which was completed in 1922 and continued to be used until 1966. It was pretty cool seeing the actual students in pictures on the wall, including the local families. There's even some vets who had attended there, with one who did not return home from World War II. We are now on the second section of the trail, highlighted in yellow on the map, which is 23 miles long and starts out a little rougher and steadily gets worse as we go. We are not yet aware of the surprises that await up ahead and the quick decisions we had to make to ensure our safety. Just as I'm coming out of that short section of Shelf Road, I look up ahead and it's like, whoa, it's just so beautiful. Looking straight out there, you can just see so far, so many different kinds of mountains, so much different landscape. There's a section of the road that is private property, and on either side is public land. There's a sign that says it's fine to travel through, provided you keep the gate closed behind you and that you stay on the road and don't deviate from the road unless you're a guest. Up ahead is a ranch. Near as I can tell, it's called Bar 10 Webb's Ranch, since there's an airstrip with the similar name. Apparently, the owner of this ranch used to be the head chef for all the Camp Chef recipes. While we were still driving through the ranch, it was interesting that we came upon an airstrip that had a sign that said Whitmore International Airport. But on the map, it's referred to differently as the Grand Canyon Bar 10 Webb's Ranch Airstrip. Well, whatever it's called, we just happened to come along right after one plane took off and a second plane was getting ready to take off. We slowed down just so that we'd make sure that our dust didn't interfere with their flight operations. And then the plane took off. Okay, so this is where things got interesting. If you look on the right, there's a sign. On that sign, it says Whitmore Canyon Overlook. But I wasn't quite sure if that was where we were finally going or it was called something else at the end. And when you look at this map, you see the highlighted route. That was what I intended to take. But there's the section of that route that actually doesn't exist anymore. It's now a horse trail. And the part that goes around to the left, that's not a guided trail, so I didn't think I should follow that. Continuing on, I ended up on Paws Pocket, which was a big mistake. So going to the left, I think I'm going to be on the guided trail. That's a 2 out of 10 that's going to take me straight through to where I need to go to. But as I said before, that part of the trail was closed. And it was essentially had a piece of wood in front of it for horses only. But it didn't look like a vehicle had traveled through there in a very long time. Must have been years. It was all overgrown and grass and didn't even look like it was wide enough for a vehicle. So next thing I know, I'm on Paws Pocket. So an interesting thing is I had downloaded the offline maps in my mapping program, but when you download the offline maps, it doesn't download the trail reports. And since I never intended to go on Paws Pocket, I didn't research it in advance. Turns out that trail is actually permanently closed. And past a certain point, which we did go a little bit past that point, you're not supposed to be going. Try to imagine yourself in the driver's seat right now. I'm pulling up to this edge, trying to come around. Right now, I can't see the edge of the cliff. All I see is the edge of my hood. So I back up a little bit, and I ask Rich if he can go out and spot me, because I could drive right off the edge with one of my wheels if I'm not careful. So Rich is holding a handheld radio, and I, of course, have a radio mounted in the truck, and he's giving me instructions. He's my spotter. You have to trust your spotter, and your spotter has to understand the gravity of the job they have to do for you, because your life is basically in their hands. And it's really important that he gives me very clear directions on what I need to do, or you can imagine what might happen. At this point on the trail, we made it through a few obstacles. They were intense, but a lot of times on an easy trail, you may have that one spot that is a little rougher, but then it goes back to normal after that. And the trail looks okay up ahead, from what I can tell at this point. I remind myself that this is a rated 2 out of 10, so how bad can it actually get? I'm leaning a little bit, but that is okay. I do notice that the trail seems to be getting narrower and narrower, and I am thinking about whether I should keep going or turn around. But then I come upon this corner right here. It seems normal when you're looking at it, but oh my gosh, we are leaning 18 degrees on the downward slope of the mountain. Enough was enough. We have to turn around. But this means that I have to back down the mountain and go through that same lean, but this time slower and backward. Looking at the map and seeing multiple switchbacks, I am assuming that the trail will get worse. When you're in a truck this big and sitting up higher, it is a really uncomfortable feeling when you are leaning to the side by this much. And my truck is very wide. A Ford Raptor is actually 8 inches wider than a regular Ford F-150. And so what might be fine for a side-by-side, sitting in the main part of the trail, for me, I'm hitting the edges of the trail, which can amplify the effect. This section of cliff is just so uncomfortable heading the opposite direction, where I am actually on the side of the cliff as opposed to my passenger Rich. Definitely was a moment of, oh my gosh, is this trail wide enough? needed a spotter again because the trail was narrow. There's rocks on the side, and I'm trying to navigate around the cliff and at the same time not scrape against all the rocks that are on the right side. I can't underscore how much you just can't see diagonally across the vehicle over the side to see what's there. And even the front cameras, they come on and you can use them when you're, off-roading in four-wheel drive, but they just don't cover everything that you need to see. So this is when a spotter is essential to help you not damage your truck or get a flat tire or worse. Finally, we're back on the trail that we should have been on from the beginning and never should have headed to the left towards Pa's Pocket. This is now to the right. It's pretty good trail here. It does get, for the last 4 miles, it gets really bumpy, so you have to go slow. But at this point, I'm just happy that I'm on a regular trail that seems to be in pretty good shape. I do want to point out the black rocks, however. I had read that anywhere in Utah where you see the black rocks like this, that's left over from a lava flow. And there's some pretty good sites that are really cool all around Utah where you can see these lava rocks. hard to tell from just looking at the trail in the video how rough it is and how bumpy it is. But if you keep an eye on the truck, you can see that we are actually bouncing around quite a bit. But nevertheless, look ahead. We're coming down to the Grand Canyon and it's just unbelievable. Videos, pictures, they just don't do it justice when you're looking at something just so majestic like this. And coming down here was just a wow moment that made the whole day and everything we went through worth it. And I can just imagine at this point what the camp ahead is going to be like. Pulling into the spot where I'm going to camp now. I need to find something that's as level as possible, and then I can use some blocks that I bring with me to level it out. But this is an amazing spot right next to this canyon.